So I figured why not we go ahead and talk about 2026. To those of you watching at home, hi, how you doing? To all the cryptids out there, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. OGs, y'all know y'all hold it down as always. My name is Mississippi Gonzo Grunge, aka Rip Breadcorn. And just to go ahead and keep it real, as I normally do here. Yeah, I've been doing YouTube for quite a long time, ever since 2012, 2013. It was right in that area. I say 2012. You know, even though I had, well, the original channel no longer exists, in case y'all were wondering. It no longer exists, and plus that, it's best that that channel stays dead. You know, that's just my take on it. It's just better off if that channel just stays down in the dumps. You know, basically buried out in the sea where it belongs. So, yeah. I'm just now starting to get over the flu, so I said, you know what, I got enough strength to make this dang video, so I'm going to do that. That's what I did last year with that video. It's like, oh yeah, how long did that video take? Quite a while. I mean, because for one, I was kind of off-putting it, but, you know, I figured, why not just record it on 2026 like you did last year? So it's like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, excuse me. I'm starting to get over the flu. I had it back on the 26th of December. It jumped up and got me. It's like, excuse me, sir, but you have the flu. Look, how they do flu tests, it's like, please, just go ahead and it's like, they need to come up with a new way of how to do it. But, you know, I'm not going to get into doctor's visits and all that. So, yeah, subscriber goals, let's go ahead and talk about it. I do want to hit 500 subscribers this year. You know, I've already gotten 201. You know, that was kind of a long process as it was. It was a long process. Long, painstaking process. Trying to get people to watch your videos. You know, I know people watch the shorts regardless. But, you know, I kind of do want to do more talk videos, because that's one of the goals I have for this channel. Do more talk videos, because I barely did any in 2025, and I don't really consider the Rip Redcorn ASMR stuff to be talk videos. That's just me adding commentary to tell, like, yeah, this is an actual thing that happened, or no, it's not. This is just something I made up because I thought it was funny. Yeah, that's the other little fun part about Rip Redcorn. That's the ASMR character, the cowboy native boyfriend that I came up with. And if you hear anything going on, I've got my TV going, and, you know, such as it is. So, yeah. The big thing, too. Yeah, that's one goal that I figured to go ahead and knock out of the way, and that's, you know, more Rip Redcorn videos and 500 subs this year. Hey, if we manage to get past 500 subs this year, it will shock me. Because for one, on my old channel, I had 2,000. But, you know, subscriber count really don't mean nothing. It's the views that do, but I never cared for either one. Now, obviously, on the off-road reviews, I still care that those videos still get views. You know, like, hey, please watch those. That's been my little pet project since 2014 when I started it, because on the original channel I started IRL content, went into gaming, and then I started doing more IRL with that channel, and people were like, oh hey, do IRL stuff. So that's another form of content I want to do, and that's something I've been trying to do since 2024 when I came back. But also I was going to do it in 2025, but it went to the wayside because I've had a few health scares pop off. And, you know, finances got tight. So, yeah, I'm going to try to do IRL content this year come hell or high water. You know, same with VR content, because that's been another big one that I just want to do, just so that way I'm not constantly recording off-road reviews. As much as I love GTA, it's like people are starting to forget the whole off-road, you know, the off-road content of YouTube back in the day. That was my bread and butter, because that used to bring in views left and right, and now nobody touches off-road stuff anymore. So it's really just me trying to remove away from that. But, I am going to try to upload more videos, more talk videos, I should say. So, what do I mean by talk videos? Well, if you noticed back last year and even in 2024, I would always talk about content I really want to do, stuff related to the holidays. I did one for Valentine's Day, which I said, hey, Valentine's Day, it really ain't nothing for you to worry about. It's just another superficial holiday for, some corporation to make money off of. It's like everything else. And don't even get me started on the commercialization of Christmas. That's a whole nother topic in and of itself, and we're not going to have those discussions on this video. We're just here to talk about goals for 2026. Resolutions and all that, Now, going back to the whole simulator thing, I do want to branch out into other simulator type content, especially Flight, because Flight has always been. Flight was actually the first type of simulators I've ever really played around in. It's like one of those things they would set up, like, because I had this teacher that taught technology back when I was in high school, and he set up like a whole flight sim thing, and he was shocked that I actually ended up passing all the flight sim stuff like clockwork. And of course, the Air Force would bring their little stuff and they set it up, and it's like, okay, do this, 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 and this. And my times were really good. I kind of make it's kind of the running joke in the family that, yeah, his mom used to put on Top Gun. He watched it. Yep. Fun fact, I did actually watch Top Gun when I was like a little kid. So that might have had a little bit of an impact on, why I wanted to join the Air Force when I was younger. Because everybody else in my family, they were like, standard Army, some were Marines and that sort of thing. And it's like, nah, I want to go fly. That's just my thing. It's like nobody in my family's done it. So I'm like, I'm going to be different. I want to go fly. But I never joined the military because I have a few health problems that say otherwise. So, yeah. That's kind of my story behind that. I got respect for all branches of the military, regardless of what, that sort of thing. It's like, to me, y'all are all fucking military. I'm really not going to... Plus that, I am well aware of the jokes. So, we're not going to tell jokes on each other. Not on this channel. And especially on this type of video. But yeah, that's beside the point. Yeah, I kind of want to go back into flight sims because it's kind of something that I've always wanted to do. So yeah, I have been looking at a few flight sticks, and it's like I'm not dropping a bunch of money on it. I'm perfectly A-okay with using Logitech stuff. I'm not real crazy. I have looked into Thrustmaster. I actually have a Thrustmaster farm stick, and that actually is really good. But, some people, they talk about, oh, but you need this, and it's like, yeah. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I'm not dropping $700 on a joystick. Plus, well, technically, this one particular setup people were talking about. It's like, so I got to drop $400 on the joystick, but I got to drop another $400 on the actual throttle itself. No, I'm perfectly fine with using cheap crap. I'm not, I don't abuse the stuff I got. Like, I'm still using, like I use a Logitech G920, as you can hear. I'm A-okay with using it because I know not to abuse the fuck out of it. That's how come people's stuff don't last long anymore, is because they abusing it. That was always a funny thing about people talking about flight sticks. It's like, well, yeah, they're not lasting long. It's because you abusing them. But, I'm not here to judge you on what type of flight stick you use. You could be using the cheapest crap imaginable. I ain't going to judge you for it. That's the whole, that's like showing up to a car show with a 4-door Tri-5 Chevy and a bunch of old has-beens are sitting there making fun of you because, you don't have the 2-door or the convertible. And it's like, yeah, but I'm still driving a Tri-5 now, ain't I? It's the exact same concept. You know, like, and I know there's people going to be complaining about the type of wheel I use, but it works for me. And I'm not picky about what I use, and I'm not looking to spend thousands of dollars to have like a massive sim rig setup. That ain't me. So yeah, simulators. Definitely gonna try to branch out into flight. You know, I do want to do IRL content, VR content. You know, it'd be nice to go back to doing some VR content. Well, not VR, but you know, IRL content. And particularly, I've always wanted to do fishing videos because that's something that I enjoy. And I also do want to do more talk videos, you know, where I'm actually talking about, you know, stuff that you can actually learn from. Because, you know, as much craziness as is going on today, you know, I just feel like people just need to hear something that sounds, you know, normal in a sense. And plus, that there's a lot of crap going on that I don't get down with, and I'm just like, nah, that shit ain't for me. I'll be the first one to tell you, there's a lot of this weird crap people are trying to push down each other's throats, and I'm like, no, I'm not for that. It's like, well, when does it become a problem? It became a problem when you tried to force it down my throat, and you demanded that I show you respect for what you are instead of who you are. Which to me, that's always the funny thing that people try to do. It's like, but you should respect me based on what I am, and it's like, no, I'm gonna respect you based on who you are. Quite frankly, you showing me that you're fucking worthless. You know, surprisingly, I've ran into people like that. You know, met them one time. First impression, I was like, yeah, I ain't gonna hang around you in the foreseeable future. And then there was people that I've met that I'm like, dang, I hope we get to hang out again. And I hadn't heard from that person ever since. But yeah, I'm not exactly the best person in the world. You know, given some of the crap I've done in the past. Yeah. And I've never shied away from it. You know, talking about some of the messed up crap that I've done. And there will probably be stuff that will never see the light of day, because that also creates a problem. It's like, well, what do you mean by stuff that won't see the light of day? I mean, stuff that won't see the light of day because they probably got an arrest warrant out for me. But if that was the case, I wouldn't be sitting here. They would have caught me by now. But, you know, my whole thing is I'm not going to sit around and glorify some old lifestyle that I was living just to say, oh, yeah, this lifestyle was... No, that lifestyle I was living back in the day was fucking stupid. Slade can tell you that. And even some of the OGs that have been around for a long time, they can tell you that lifestyle I was living back in the day, when I did bring it up, they were like, yeah, that's stupid as hell. But, you know, I had my reasons for doing it. I ain't trying to justify it. You know, everybody turns over a new leaf. And I do say, well, I wouldn't say everybody. Mostly everybody. Let's just put it like that. Mostly everybody. Because eventually you will get the, plus that you tend to go through this in life, especially in your 20s. So to some of you out there that are watching this and you're in your 20s, you know, listening in, look, I went through about two different points where I was like, man, I am living dumb as hell. I'm going to die doing this shit. You know, one of those moments was me being like 21, and I, you know, like right before I turned 21, I'm like, man, this shit ain't worth it. So I just stopped doing it. 25, I'm like, you come to the crossroads at 25, and then when you hit 30, you come to another. You know, life's just one big crossroad after another. You think you done got past one crossroad? Nope, you got to go to another one. And I would say, for some reason, it's like every 5 years. So I'll probably hit another one at 35 where I really have to make a choice. But it seems like my life has been full of choices. So far, so good. You know, I could have made better choices in the past, but, you know, these things happen, which I'll touch on more about that. You know, that's just a basic outline, you know, that sort of deal. Now, I do know I do want to do more collabs. Because now that I've gotten the one with Diesel out of the way, that floodgate's open. And it's like, well, why would Diesel go first? Because Diesel was originally supposed to appear on my old channel. And because he was the 4th member. Yeah, a little chant. Yeah, that's lore. He was the 4th member. Because I always said, yeah, I said, yeah, I have found a 4th member. I'm going to bring him on. The old channel went out the window. But it's like, oh, did Diesel appear in any videos? Yeah, he appeared on the live stream where I was playing. It was during the 12 Days of Christmas stream, and so you can check that out. That stream's still up. The only one of those streams that ain't up is that karaoke stream. And funny enough, I think I was coming down sick when I did that. So yeah, it wasn't my best. It was my first. I was nervous as hell. I lost my place several times, but that's beside the point. So, yeah. And there is the big one that I've saved, the best. Well, before I get into that, I am doing this other one too, you know, like more collab stuff. I do hope to collab with other people that I've ran across the YouTube landscape. Because, like, I remember I ran into, like, you know, I talk about, you know, Wranglerosaurus Rex, Nacho Cast, and JJ, because it's like, you know, it's just kind of funny, like, their stuff just started appearing one day, like when I came back and I got my YouTube account set up and I was getting all this crap done. So I'm like, you know what, I wonder what's going on in the terms of the live streaming world. And Wrangler, and, you know, well, Rex was the first one to do all the streaming stuff where he was streaming FS22. So he was talking about that. And I was kind of like, oh, wow, this dude's cool. So I started talking to him. And then, you know, it's like, oh, yeah, I used to make content back on YouTube. And he's like, do you make content right now? And I just posted that first video that day explaining where I've been. And I was sharing that channel around on my Rockstar Social. Yeah, funny enough, you got to have a Rockstar Social account to play GTA 5 and other stuff. But, you know, still. So, yeah. So I'm like, you know what? You know, some of the stuff I was playing, but like, you play cool stuff. Because I didn't know how it was going to be playing some of this retro gaming stuff. And then it's like, oh, hey, people still want to see this. So, you know, I do plan on doing more retro stuff. I just moved it more towards live streaming. And yes, I do actually use a real PS2. You know, this isn't an emulator. I don't believe in using emulators. To me, it doesn't have the same feel as cracking open a PS2 box, pulling out a game disc, opening the tray, sticking it in, and playing it. Which I will probably make a video going into more detail about how to record, you know, PlayStation 2 stuff with, you know, with a capture card. Because I'm using a capture card, and I can use the capture card software, but to be honest, I mostly just use it to capture thumbnail stuff. So there's that. And, you know, plus that, you do have to use an HDMI recorder, but, you know, I'll go into more details about how to record with a PS2. You know, run it through the capture card and run it all through the PC, because you can use OBS with it. Excuse me. So yeah, there's got to be a bunch of other stuff I'm going to branch out into, because I have been looking for a wheel that I can plug my PS2 in, because I just got Starsky and Hutch. So that's the big one. Now the big, grandiose piece of them all, I really want to resurrect the OG show. Some of the channel OGs know what I'm talking about. Me and Slade had this, well, it was kind of a proto-podcast where we just sat around and we just talked about whatever was on our minds that night. And to be honest, originally we were going to live stream it, but my internet couldn't handle it, and Slade didn't have the technology at the time. So, yeah. So that's kind of the big thing what I'm going to talk about, a resurrection of the show. That's kind of something that I want to do, but, you know, since we all work now, You know, this ain't like where it used to be back in the day whenever I was still working nights and, you know, I'd be working for 90 days and then they kick my ass to the curb and then I'm out anywhere between 6 to 9 months. And I'm trying to make what little paycheck I got stretch. Yeah, I was getting paid terribly back in the day. But, you know, yeah, I'm probably going to talk more about that, you know. Let more talk, that sort of thing. But, yeah, I'm probably done talking at this point. So, yeah. It's probably the end of it. The goals, just a brief rundown. 500 subs. Branch out into different simulators. IRL content, VR content. More talk videos. You know, more collabs. More Rip Redcorn videos. And, you know, the resurrection of the show. But, you know, still, this stuff takes time. I'm not trying to rush it. I'm not in any type of hurry. And plus that, I really don't see myself making any money off of this. You know, and plus that's a dumbass reason to go into YouTube. Or, you know, to content creation in general. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do this because I want to make money at it. That's a fool's errand. Even back when I was still, even back during my heyday of 2016, I still worked a normal job. You know, granted, it was a part-time janitorial job, but I loved it. You know, yeah, I worked as a school janitor, even though I had automotive degrees and, you know, well, I wouldn't say a degree, more like automotive certification. It's like, oh, yeah, just go do all the trade stuff. Well, you see how well that worked out. If that was really the case, I'd probably be working in a mechanic shop somewhere and not self-employed, where the paycheck is up and down every month. And quite frankly, it is down this month. But who knows? Maybe when I branch out into IRL content, I'll start, you know, making car content. That was the whole point of me going to do IRL content with a GoPro camera, was to do fishing and cars. But, you know, with this new channel, it's basically, I'm trying to do everything that I had in mind. Because the old channel, it originally just started off as just me being in my pro wrestling character. Which, yeah, fun fact, I actually was a pro wrestler. And people are like, oh, did it ever go anywhere? To be honest, no, it didn't. And I didn't care if it went anywhere. That was my whole thing. That was my whole thing. I didn't care if it ever went anywhere or not. You know, hey, who knows? Maybe there's a parallel universe where I'm actually in the WWE. You know, AEW, wherever. Because, you know, I'm not real picky about, you know, I was never real picky about what, you know, promotion I went to work for. But once you start telling me, yeah, we want you to do these dumbass type matches, my first response to that would be, fuck you, no. Which, that was an actual conversation I had with somebody. It's like, yeah, we want you to do this hardcore match. I'm like, okay, what's the catch? And as soon as they said what it was, I said, 1, no, 2, fuck you, 3, fuck you some more. It was that damn stupid. And it's like, look, I have no issues putting people in trash cans and throwing, you know, people through tables and flaming tables and into power bombing people into thumbtacks. But I'm not going to do something that requires a bed of pencils. You know, I'm not Madman Pondo. Which, by the way, Pondo, if you're watching this, hi, how you doing? If you still have that piece of graphite, what the fuck are you still doing with that? But that's beside the point. So, yeah. Other than that, thank y'all for watching. This has been a 2020. This has been the first video of 2026. I hope to do more. Now, if y'all excuse me, I'm gonna go to bed because I gotta go pick up chickens sometime tomorrow. And other than that, I hope to be doing some more. You know, I hope to do more talk videos in 2025. I really need to sit down and actually start planning out, you know, what to talk about and what more. Because, you know, at this point, who cares? So other than that, be sure to shoot the like button with the grip skiddly if you enjoyed. Please do comment down below your 2026 goals. And other than that, Do smash the subscribe button today if you're new, and do click the notification bell icon to stay up to date when I go live. I do live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But I probably won't be live streaming for the rest of this week and probably for next week too. Because, hey, I kind of want to download some games and get all that situated first. So, yeah, if I do live stream, it will be very sporadic. You know, there might be one live stream or even none. So, yeah. I do hope to live stream again. Probably around the week of the 11th through the 17th. I'll probably put the live streaming schedule back up then. But, you know, as for the rest of this week and next week, no, I don't see myself live streaming. Because I got to get over the flu completely, and I want to be 100% sure of that. So, that's about it. Now then, y'all have a great day and a ballin' 2026. I'll see y'all around. And remember, take care of yourselves in 2026. Because for one, this year is only going to get better.